Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FlowCAD webinar, Easy Design Entry using Allegro X System Capture. My name is Petra, and my colleague Holger Schröter is today here with me. Over the next hour, he will give you an overview of System Capture and how it interacts with Pulse. Most of you probably already know Holger from our support or training course. For everyone else, here a few words about him. Holger studied communications engineering and has many years of know-how in PCB design for various applications, as well as design flow development and support. Since 8 years, he is working as application engineer at FlowCAD. Our cameras will remain off to avoid technical problems as far as possible. That's all for the moment. Holger, let's get started.
So let's talk about System Capture, Allegro X System Capture, and also the Pulse platform. So I assume most of you guys have already heard about System Capture, since Kate is talking about it since years. And most of you probably heard about it as a replacement of the existing front-end tools, Design Entry, DE-HDL, and OrCAD Capture. But that's just part of the truth. So System Capture is way more. Actually, it's kind of an engineering cockpit and controlling platform for lots of different things. You can do lots of different analysis directly in System Capture. You can control different tools from there also. So, and in the background of the System Capture engineering cockpit, there's always this Pulse platform, this data management platform running in the background. So, and these tools are really connected tightly together. So you always run Pulse in Atom mode as soon as you start System Capture on your machine. So there's a local installation of Pulse on your machine, so-called Atom mode, and this is always running in the background of System Capture. So and I will try to enlighten you a little bit about these tools, what they are doing, also about these two levels of these Pulse installations. So there is this Atom mode, so-called Atom mode, running on your machine. And there can also be a Vista mode, so a Pulse installation on a server machine to which you can connect. And I will talk a little bit about this, also talk a little bit about this engineering cockpit functionality in System Capture, because as mentioned, it's way more than just simply drawing a schematic. So first have a look here at an overview about this. So on the right side, you see here System Capture with all the different possibilities you have inside of the tool. So for sure, you can draw a schematic, you can define constraints, you can do different analysis, have version control and these kind of things, part management. This is all what you really see when you open System Capture and work inside of the tool. So and on the left side, you see here the Pulse data management platform, as mentioned, always running in the background of System Capture. So you see here the different things like version control, library management, and so on and so forth. They are really controlled inside of the Pulse platform. So, and you will see this inside, as soon as you start System Capture, you will see this Pulse icon inside of your Windows tray also. I can show you this a little bit later when I'm also showing you some of the things inside of System Capture directly. So, and yeah, as mentioned, these two toolings, they are tightly connected, cannot run, so System Capture cannot run without Pulse in the background. So that's overview about this environment you have then on your machine. Schematic drawing basics. For sure, System Capture is a design entry tool. As you see here, when you first have a look at the tool, maybe it reminds you a little bit of Presto. So I did a Presto webinar something like a year ago, something like that, where one or the other guy might have participated in that. And you see that, yeah, the UI looks somehow similar. So you have the same or similar icons, you have the same structure here. And that's also a little bit the idea of Cadence here. So tools should have the look same and feel, should have the same use model. Everything is merged together a little bit more. So that's the first thing here. So, and for sure you have here drawing basics, schematic drawing basics, different possibilities. You can for sure place symbols, draw buses, draw wires, and all these kind of things. We have some nice additional features here. So, for example, this decoupling capacitor placement, I will talk a little bit about this later. So you can also add automatically table of contents or something like this. One remark, maybe I missed this earlier. So this is, I have quite a lot of slides, so I will go through some of these slides quite quickly, but you can have them afterwards, and then you can look have a look at the slides in more detail. So because it's lots of topics here inside of this presentation, and therefore I will hurry a little bit through some of the topics here. Good. So hierarchical design. For sure, System Capture is offering possibility for hierarchical design. You can import blocks from other projects. I mean, this is a basic feature for a modern schematic entry tool. You can also use the full-blown flow with the physical design reuse. So as soon as you have Allegro, then you can define modules in Allegro, connect these modules to a block inside of the front end, inside of System Capture, and then have a full-blown design reuse flow in the end. So this is also possibility the tool is offering here. And what I must remark here, especially for the guys coming from design and DE-HDL, and this packaging and handling of this hierarchical designs is way more easier in System Capture than it was in HDL. So there in HDL, you remember these 4 sub-design, use sub-design, packaged kind of things, so quite complicated. This is pretty simple in design in System Capture. So that's hierarchical design. Unified search. We have actually one UI browsing through all the different types of libraries you can connect. You have for sure Google-like search in there, so can enter some values, wording somehow, and then it will find some components. But you can also browse the library using these filters. So I will show this afterwards inside of the tools. So then you can, for example, just open one cell inside of your library, enter a value, and then the parts from this cell with this value will be listed there. So there's quite comfortable search possibilities inside here. And what we also have, and this is quite new for the design and DE-HDL customers or users, FlowCAD Capture users already know about this stuff, so we can connect to some internet platforms, some Axis and UltraLibrarian, and download parts from there. So no need to draw each and every component by your own, simply download them. For sure, you should control them afterwards if they are really matching your company requirements or something like this. But in the end, yeah, it saves you time and money simply to download these parts here from there. So, and then when we have this Pulse Vista server, then we also have a possibility to set up a part request flow, so the designer can then request a part at the librarian, things like this. And you can also have the possibilities to visualize data from the PLM system. So you can connect to your PLM system. I will talk a little bit about this later when I talk about the different Pulse systems, so the Vista mode and these kind of things. Variants, this is quite good in there. Looks somewhat similar to how it's handled in design and DE-HDL, and compared to the variants handling in OrCAD Capture is really pretty good. Easy to use, intuitive, without these groups and subgroups and all this kind of stuff you have to do in the part manager and OrCAD Capture. Simply click inside of the schematic on the component and say, do not insert this guy or use another value for this guy, things like this. So I will show this in the tool. And this is really comfortable and quite easy to use and fast and everything. Good, table-driven connections. So we just have a few customers using SCM, System Connectivity Manager. So a table-based connectivity entry or schematic entry. So you don't really draw a schematic in that, just have tables with the connection. So inside of System Capture, Kane's going in this kind of somehow different way, I must say. So a normal schematic is handled like a normal schematic. So for example, if you have an analog schematic, you always need a readable schematic to understand your circuitry. And Cadence is now combining this somehow. So if you have, in addition, very large pin count devices, you can handle these large pin count devices in a table mode. So, and this is, yeah, I must say, somehow best of both worlds. On one hand, you have a readable schematic. On the other hand, you have the easy handling of high pin count components inside of the table. So, and then you simply have this block, and the connectivity inside of this block is handled with the table. So this is quite a good thing, but I know it's a special topic because we just have a few customers using this SCM stuff. System capture pulse, version control in this case. You have native built-in version control. As I mentioned, the Pulse server and Netto mode is always running on your machine in the background and is taking care about this version control. So, and for sure you can then roll back to older versions, can commit minor or major changes, all these kind of things, compare versions for sure. And yeah, Pulse is always taking care about this stuff. And you have also here this picture of the version control UI inside of System Capture. So this is natively built into the tool. That's a nice feature. So adding these bypass capacitors, you know, lots of components nowadays requires tons of blocking capacitors connected to them somehow. And you can somehow automatically set kind of bypass rail for a component like this here. So, and what is the good thing here? This is really associated with this component. So you have the parent component and then the child components, the blocking caps underneath. And you see here when you open place manually inside of the PCB editor, then you have the parent component and the capacitors here. So a tree-like thing. And what is also good, you can define a distance here. So right inside System Capture, you define a distance. And when you place the parts, place the capacitors, they have to be within this distance to their parent components, to this U7 in this case. So this is quite a good thing, easy to use. You can configure this bypass rail so that it's nicely matching on your schematic page and all these kind of things. Good, so that's adding bypass capacitor, one special feature here. Constraints capturing, for sure. You have the normal full-blown constraint manager, as you all know. But you also have, in addition, this so-called dock constraint manager. So this is this panel here on the right side. And there you can directly click inside of the schematic canvas, click on the wire, click on the net, and then you see what's going on with this net. So, for example, you see constraint sets which are hanging on that net. If a net is a member of a matched group or something like this, all these informations can be directly seen. And not only seen, you can also assign a constraint set, for example, to a net. And yeah, this is easy to use and better, way better. So you don't have to go into this constraint manager. You look for your net you want to constrain, simply directly click on the schematics canvas on the line and attach the constraint set to that net. So that's really cool thing and easy to use. Good. Design integrity overstress analysis. This is directly built into System Capture, and the good thing here is also non-SPICE experts can use this stuff. So you don't have to take care about too much things. For sure, the tooling is fetching properties or using properties from the library for the simulation. So, and then you can have a look at your components and see whether some of the parts inside of your design might get too stressed and therefore fail earlier. So this is a nice thing, analysis which is directly built into System Capture. And as I mentioned, System Capture is not just drawing a schematic, it's way more different possibilities. Also MTBF analysis is built into System Capture. So we currently have these two standards, this MIL standard, this FIDES standard. Some people told me that they are quite old and they might need additional standards. So yeah, if you need different things, we can for sure address this to Cadence. And then they will sooner or later build this into the tooling. So for sure, yeah, you need some preparation inside of the library that you really get meaningful analysis results. You also have to know what you are doing when running this simulation, also know how to interpret these outcome of the simulations. But yeah, if you are familiar with MTBF analysis, then you will like this because it's, again, directly built into System Capture. You don't need any additional tooling for that analysis anymore. So everything is in one UI in the meantime. Same is valid for power analysis. So you can set up a power tree basically There's again an external tool from Cadence PowerTree where you can do similar or the same analysis, I must say, but now it's again directly built into System Capture, and you can have a look at your power circuitry inside of your design directly in System Capture. Also a good thing here. And the same is valid here somehow for the thermal analysis. So, and what I must mention here, we also have now directly built into the tool a PCB viewer and also a PCB floor planner. I will show this later. So you have somehow a little bit, at least a little bit of layout capabilities inside of the front-end tool now. So an electrical engineering can have a look at the board, can have a look at the thermal floor planning somehow, and yeah, can see, okay, these two guys, they are too close together because they are pretty hot, getting pretty hot, both of them. So let's move them away a little bit, or at least try to move them away a little bit, so that the thermal floor planning is a little bit optimized here in this case. So yeah, you can open the board inside of System Capture, view the board, have a review inside of System Capture, and also do this kind of floor planning. I will show this a little bit later inside of the tool. And we have lots of additional analysis possibilities in the PCB context here. PSpice we also have integrated into System Capture now, so you can run normal simulations as you are used to in PSpice, the Monte Carlo smoke analysis, all these kind of things. One drawback at the moment is here, this is currently only running for the HDL libraries. So for capture libraries currently not implemented. Actually, I don't have a timeline for that from Cadence. I hope that this will also be available sooner or later. So, but currently this is somehow a limitation. But otherwise, yeah, you have PSpice inside of System Capture, so everything is in one tool in the meantime. Yeah. So and the same thing is here valid now for AWR microwave office integration. So the good thing is here, tools are connected somehow, not really integrated, I must say connected, so can exchange layout information, can exchange schematic information. And yeah, you can in the end design your schematic and also design your RF structure. For example, an antenna or a filter, or some kinds of these things, directly in Microwave Office, and then transfer this information into System Capture and also into the PCB editor. And advantage here is pretty clear. You don't have to redraw this RF structure in PCB or in Allegro. So and thereby you get rid of errors, avoid errors, because you don't have to redraw. So in this tight connection is somehow not integration, but tight connection is also available now. Good, and then e-cockpit, I already told you a little bit thing about this. So floor planner, PCB viewers integrated. So this looks like this, and in the end, you have somehow the Presto interface inside of System Capture now. Looks exactly like Presto, feels like Presto, and this use model is like Presto. And as mentioned, you have just the viewer so that people can do a review inside of System Capture. No need to open a different tool. You also have this floor planning mode. I will also show this a little bit in the tool, because inside of the floor planning mode, you have additional analysis modes. In the end, you have somehow the Aurora integration into System Capture and can also run these analyses directly in that tool. Yeah, this is floor planning PCB viewer. So as you see directly in the tool, you have also PCB viewer, and this is actually analyzes most modes. So as you already know from backend, basically the Aurora stuff is now inside of System Capture, and you can run different analyses here, can run IR drop, impedance, coupling checks, these kind of things. I will not go into too much detail because my colleague Dirk Lindenbrücker, he was holding Aurora webinars or also even workshops. And if you want to know more about this stuff, the Aurora analysis, then you can join one of these webinars or even join a workshop with him. And then you can see all these capabilities. From the use model, it's exactly the same. Doesn't matter whether you run this from Allegro PCB editor or run this from System Capture or inside System Capture, I must say. Good. IE integration, XIE, is also available there. So when you are in the floor planning mode, you can also upload the board into the Cadence cloud and let the AI run a placement. So for sure, this is not really a start to finish solution. The results, you should use them as a kickoff. So, but maybe they might be useful for you and will save you some time, because you can run different cycles, change some things, fix some components or something like this, do manipulations like that, run a new cycle, get a new placement from the AI, and yeah, then you can see whether you can use this or whether this does not fulfill. For sure, can also be the case. This does not really fulfill your needs. So yeah, this is also integrated. One thing I must say to that, this runs in the Cadence cloud. So you have to upload your board, your data into the Cadence cloud. I know that many people don't like this idea. In further future, I think there will be also local installation of this IE possible, but I don't know any timeline for that even. Good, so that's the integration of this AI functionality into system capture. So now coming back to what I initially said a little bit, we have basically a single user mode, multi-user mode, and this Atom Pulse server, which is always running in your machine, always. You can't get rid of that guy. And you also have, if you want to have the full capabilities of Pulse, you have to set up a Pulse Vista server on a server machine. And then you have managed library, authoring, flow, and these kind of things, full team design capabilities, and also all these kind of different things. You can define workflows, automate lots of different things, can even connect to your PLM system and all these things. But the normal features of system capture, they also can be used just in the Atom mode. So you have the full schematic drawing capabilities in the end. And the data, as mentioned, version control is also then running on this local Atom Pulse server. Yeah, there's a little bit the difference between the Atom mode here on the left side and here on the right side, the Vista mode with the big server on a server machine. Good, so that you have seen this and already heard about this stuff. Team design, for sure, when you have a Pulse server installed, then you have really full-blown team design possibilities here. You have control over the users, what they can do, what they can see, and so on. For sure, minor, major branches can be generated, and so on and so forth. So really full-blown version control and team design then on the Pulse server machine. So this is some of the possibilities here. What is also good then, you have the possibility to access project data, for example, a BOM, or have a look at the schematic by a web browser. So there might be guys like purchasing guys or something who don't have a SPB installation, who don't have a Cadence installation on their machine. They don't need it. They just want to have a look at the BOM. So now, simply go have a look at the BOM in a web browser. So web participant, good thing, especially for these procurement guys, manager, or these kind of things, who just want to have a look at dedicated data, but don't have an installation of all the tools on their machine. Good. Live form is also a nice feature. So you are basically connected to some content provider, information provider, internet, and always have the information about your parts. So compliance information, price information, life cycle information, these kind of things, always up to date, because they are always coming live from these content providers. So, and therefore you always have the live BOM, always up to date BOM somehow. So this is also a good thing. Capture or OrCAD Capture users already know about this. There's this live BOM functionality also built in the meantime, but for HDL users, it's a pretty new thing. Good, Pulse servers, then you also have the possibility to build up templates so that each and every design you are doing is based on the same templates, so they all look the same, they all have the same settings like somehow. So this is a possibility here. And what is also a nice thing, you can reuse blocks in a more easier way. So here you have this unified search. I already showed you this guy. And now here, in addition to the parts, to the library elements, and to the content provider, some access neutral librarian, you have now design here, and you can place design blocks directly from there. So that's also a nice feature, which is available when you have a Vista server set up. Good. PLM overview or integration to PLM, or connection, I must say, connection to PLM. So with this Pulse server in Vista mode, you can also connect to your PLM systems, so Windchill, Teamcenter, whatever. There are connectors required for that, for sure. But then you can access this information from the PLMs, directly from the PLM system. Also can upload your designs into your PLM system, or the information which are required in PLM. And yeah, you have a direct connection to your company systems here. So this is also a possibility here if you have a Pulse server set up, a Vista server set up. Good. What else? Library authoring. So normal library authoring is built directly into System Capture for HDL. So this is one of the limitations currently. So HDL guys, they can use or design their library elements directly in System Capture. No need for additional tooling. For Capture users at the moment, this is a drawback because they have to use old OrCAD Capture to draw their library elements, or even download from content provider. This is also the other possibilities here. Yeah, but for HDL, everything is inside of System Capture now. Good. Yeah, this is somehow maybe a special case. I don't know if many people of you are really using this. Simply keep it in mind that also our System Capture is offering the possibility to design system-level designs. So you have multiple boards, can define the connectivity between these different boards, interfaces between these different boards, and then the tool will take care about that the connectivity is fulfilled as you want to have it. So system-level design inside of System Capture. So coming to the migration, we have here nice links to the migration guides. So first here for HDL. What I must say, in principle, simply connect to your site, to your libraries, and then start to work with System Capture. So it's directly consuming HDL libraries. You can also import HDL designs into System Capture and then continue to work with them inside of that tool. So this is quite good migration path here. And as mentioned, here's a short migration guide because some things you have to keep in mind here. And it's new project, I must say here also. And there you can define or decide which library mode you want to use. So in this case here, HDL. And then the new project will be completely based on your existing HDL libraries. No need to change on the library side here. So simply work with your HDL library. And same is somehow valid for OrCAD Capture. So System Capture can also work with ULBs. So simply select here as library mode OrCAD Capture and then use your existing OLBs. Drawback as mentioned, if you want to define new components in the library, then you have to do it in old OrCAD Capture. Again, migration guide, link to migration guide is here. Good, so much about the slide deck. Then let us continue. And I would show some of the things inside of the tool. For sure, I will give an overview about the UI, show you some nice feature, navigation things, unified search for sure. Part Manager is quite a cool feature. These bypass capacitors and so on and so forth. And in the end, I will also have a look, or we will also have a look here at the integrated analysis possibilities. Here also have a look at the floor planning, PCB viewer, and these kind of things. So then let me stop this presentation and let me go into the tool. And first of all, let me show you this one thing. So here, this is this Pulse icon here. And you will see as soon as you start System Capture on your machine, then also Pulse will start in the background and will run here in the background. So you can also see this inside of the tool here. Good. Then let me give you an overview. So first, when you have a first look, if you have seen Presto PCB editor before, then you directly see, okay, this looks somehow similar. And actually, yeah, it is quite similar. It's the same look and feel somehow. So, and this is also, as mentioned, the idea of Cadence, that all the tools are coming closer together, merging somehow, so that we get rid of all these different use models, all these different tools in the end. So, and what you also see here, the tool is, yeah, streamlined, simplified somehow. Remember all these buttons in HDL here, these rows of buttons in HDL, also in OrCAD Capture. So this, we all just have these few buttons here. So the most important things really are here on your hand when you draw a schematic. It's like draw wire, place component, draw a bus, these kind of things. Add a shape or add special symbols like the power symbols, these kind of things. This is directly here. So in the same, what is simplified here in terms of these buttons is also simplified here in terms of the menu entries. When you have OrCAD Capture in mind, then you have these overwhelming menu items, tons of different things you can do. And this is quite simplified now. It's way easier to use, and you have really a good overview about the different possibilities you have in here. So let's have a look here, go over a little bit through this different features. For example, you for sure have here import possibilities, import blocks from other designs, these kind of things, export possibilities. Here, export to layout is for sure the most important thing. In the end, it's not sufficient just drawing a schematic. You want to do a layout in the end. So, and that's why this is for sure most important button, I must say somehow. So yeah, this is this. So, and again here, if you go to edit menu, you see just few entries here. If I go to the preference, the same thing again. So it's quite, yeah, simplified somehow, everything. So, and for sure, I will not go to each and every item here. So maybe just have a look here at the variant settings. So then you can see here these color settings for the variant, how they will be defined. So you see here the library entries, so available libraries here, project libraries. Looks somehow similar to in Design Entry HDL, this thing here. So, and yeah, messages clearly not these overwhelming preferences and settings, and yeah, everything more easier to use. Place for sure, you have the same buttons. Basically, you not really use this or need this placement, even need this placement menu, because you have everything here in these few buttons. The same is here for variants. There you have just a small menu. And yeah, since we're anyhow here in this variants menu, let's maybe have a look at this variance settings. I will go to another page here to show you some of these things. For sure, you can create a new variant. Synchronize. So create a variant. I will not do this. So simply enter a name, click OK, done. Then you have a new variant. Let me open just one of the existing links, like this Asia stuff. So, and then you directly see here, it's written here, it's this Asia variant. And you see directly here, okay, these guys, they are not inserted, set to do to DNI, so not placed. So, and if you want to change something, as mentioned, this is really easy, pretty forward. So simply click inside of the schematic on a part and say do not install. Simply click on the schematic on a part and use a different cap for that. So it's shortly browsing through this component, through this list, and simply use a different one. So you see here it's crossed out, or even in a different color when you to see that it's a different value in this case. And if you want to get rid of this stuff, simply get rid of this stuff by this here revert to or reset to base. So as mentioned, pretty easy to use. No need to define these groups and subgroups inside of departments. You complicated search for your components you want to influence. Simply click them on the schematic. That's it. Easy. So that's first variant. So let's continue maybe to go a little bit here through this tooling here, or through this toolbar here, menu bar. For sure, you can generate the schematic, and what is here really a cool feature also, you can launch PCB editor from here, so then normal PCB, Allegro PCB editor starts. What is also really a good feature is the new part manager. Let me show this maybe on another page where I've prepared some things. Here, have a look here at this U17. And then I go into the part manager, and the part manager really shows you differences. So in this case, It can show you, for example, let me make this a little bit bigger, difference here in terms of the properties, but you can also see graphic differences here. So, and in the library, I made this guy smaller a little bit. And if I click simply update here, yeah, now that's updated. So now part is used from the library, updated into your schematic. You have a clear overview what has been changed in terms of here, in terms of the graphics, in terms of the properties, and so on and so forth. This is really cool tool here. So then to the design integrity and electrical come a little bit later. So let me first continue to go through the rest of the UI a little bit maybe. So on the left side you have here the the project tree with all the different things. So in this case a hierarchical schematic with different blocks and these kind of things. You can also run LiveBomb from here. You can open board from here. I will do this a little bit later. So, and yeah, you see here the blocks of the design. You can also see the library here and directly open library elements from there. Simply you change anything directly here inside of the tool. So everything is at your hands. So what I wanted to show you here, maybe go to this guy and then go to navigation. So we have different navigation possibilities inside of System Capture. So you see here, if I click a wire here, then you directly see the connections or the different pages on which this net appears somehow. So and then you can directly jump to there. For sure, in addition, you also have this cross references. This is the same as normal old cross references, but yeah, I like this navigation stuff. This is really good and powerful thing here. What is also pretty good here. We have a hierarchical design. So we have here the same block instantiated 2 times in this case. So as you see here, and if you jump into the block, you have the logic net name here. So and what we now have also in addition, we have physical net name view. So and where does this net name come from? For sure, it comes from the upper block, from the root level design. So this out A is propagated into that block. And by this physical, oops, it's the wrong page. Here we go. And this physical net name is now propagated into the block. And this physical net name is the important net name because you all know this is the net name which is propagated into the PCB. So in the PCB is not signal, how was it called? Signal in is not used. So in the end, out A is used in this case as the real net name inside of the board of the PCB design. So and that's why this physical net name view physical net name is quite a cool feature. Yeah, it's about this physical net name, net navigation view. Let me come maybe to this unified search stuff a little bit. So you see here we can browse now the library. So this is my company library. This is also a local library just for this design. And we also have the search providers, what you can use. So, and if you want to search inside of the library, as mentioned, we have this Google-like search capabilities. I simply enter the name here, and the tool finds the part. So you see here a preview of this guy, footprint, schematic symbol preview, also this properties here. One small trap when you use this. Normally, if you click here and click on a component like this, then you see here all the information about these components. But this details here is always the library element. So in the beginning, when I started to use System Capture, this drove me actually crazy because I always thought this details is also detailed of the part I clicked on the canvas, but no, it's not. It's always library. This is a little trap somehow. Good, let's get rid of this search string I just entered here. And let me show you the filter capabilities here. So go into the filters, and then we see here we have also possibilities to directly browse into the library. So this is this library structure class lib I just used. So I use now library class lib and this cell capacitors. And then I maybe can also use a value like this guy. And then the tool finds this 2.2 picofarad capacitors inside of my libraries. So yeah, simply click here on this filters, then you have this row of different filters, and then you can define your filters and easily find components out of your library, because I assume that you guys know your library better than I do. Yeah, this is different possibilities. So Google-like search or filter search by filters, basically. What else? Yeah, maybe have a look. Maybe have a look here. Okay, at the properties we can have a look. Also at the doc constraint manager we have a look in a second. So first of all, you see all these informations about this component here. I select this U19, and then you get all these informations. You also have these different PowerPoint-like drawing features. So there you can rotate this line components, all these kind of things, and you get all these informations here from this part. Also here, preview of the footprint, preview of the schematic symbol, and all these kind of things. So all informations needed are directly at your hands. You could also define here XNet pin pairs. This is also a possibility to directly define this here. So, but I wanted to show you some different things, because I wanted to show you also in addition this doc constraint manager. Let me go to another page here, to another design, and then you see here is in this case differential pair, and this is this button for the doc constraint manager. So, and you can now go directly into that, and then you can see here, so this guy, this clocknet is part of this differential pair clock 1, and on this differential pair, on this net, there's a electrical CSET diff, there's a physical DC set like default, and 300 micrometer spacing constraint set. So you directly see everything. You don't need to go into the constraint manager. Every information is directly at your hand, and you can see them. And you can just not plain information. You could change it. You can also, reset this to default or something like this. So it's also a possibility. No need to go into constraint manager, search for this clocknet and all these cumbersome things. So it's pretty fast and smooth to work with this. So this I wanted to show you, that you have an impression how this works with the doc constraint manager. So then what else? Yeah, for sure, I must say a few words regarding this. In addition, for sure, you have the full-blown constraint manager. Looks exactly like the normal constraint manager, so I will not go into too much details about this. So let's have a look here maybe at this analysis possibilities. So first, design integrity. I will not go into too much detail in this because these are tons of different tools, just to give you an impression what are the possibilities here. So for example, the schematic audit stuff here. There we have tons of different settings. I changed something, therefore I need to save. I will not go through each and every point here, because if I scroll to this, you see lots of different checks for your connectivity can be directly done inside of the tool. Easily configurable. For sure, you need to prepare some things inside of the library. So if you, for example, want to check whether a driver is connected to a receiver, then you have to define this inside of your library. This is a driver pin, this is a receiver pin. Otherwise, it will not work. There are some prerequisites for sure for these checks. So, but then you can run this and easily define this and run this. So, and the same is here, for example, valid for this MTBF check. So let me go shortly into this. Takes a while to open, and then you see you can define different standards here. I'm not an expert for this stuff. Define some ambient temperature and so on and so forth. And then you can directly run this MTBF calculations inside of System Capture. So no need to go into a different toolings here. Yeah, these possibilities you have here. I will come to a little bit more analysis possibilities when we have a look at the PCB floor planner, also have a look at the PCB viewer. Good, so this is what I wanted to show you. Let's maybe have a look at this bypass capacitor stuff, because this is really a useful tool here. So, and I will add a set of bypass capacitors to this U7. And again, everything is done here directly inside of the canvas. So simply click here, bypass capacitors, and select the components. Yeah, come on. select a component from this list, capacitor component, and define how many of these guys you want to set. And what I also mentioned, so it's directly using ground and the supply voltage of this components, this U7 component, and you can define here distance. So and this distance is now used inside of the PCB editor. And these guys, these 8 blocking caps, I'm now attaching to this U7 have to be placed inside of a distance of 5 millimeter from their parent directory component. And for sure, this rail, you can arrange this in a nice way so that it's better to change here, or fits better on your schematic, I must say. Good, what else? Let me have a short look here at my list here of things I wanted to show you. Yeah, then I think from the schematic we are almost done. Let me go into the board a little bit. So you see here inside of the project project navigation pan, you can also use right mouse button and open things in Allegro. So you can run PCB editor on that board directly from here, normal Allegro PCB editor. But let me use open board, because then you will see it's directly opened now inside of System Capture. So it takes a second, and then you see, yeah, this looks now like Presto. Visibility pan of Presto. You can also go into 3D canvas. You can highlight nets. You can influence what layers you want to see, all these kind of things. Same look and feel as Presto. We are now in the floor planning mode. Here in this button line on the upper right side, you see this floor planning. We can also go into viewer, but then we can just view things. So it's also good for a review or something, but you cannot really edit the board then. So now in floor planning mode, you also have the possibilities to move things around and these kind of things. Define rooms so that the components are placed together. So, and this is really a nice thing. So the front end engineer can also work a little bit in the PCB and give the layouter guy maybe some hints what's the design intent is somehow. So it's viewing possibilities, but also floor planning, moving possibilities. So, and what I wanted to show you here is this analysis modes. This is these analysis modes, and now you see it's exactly the same as in PCB editor. And you have, I will not run this. I just wanted to show you this. So, and we have now basically the Aurora features, possibilities here inside of System Capture. So no need for running your analysis to go into the different tool. You can directly see them here, analyze your board. For sure, there is a requirement. So impedance and coupling are coming with all the tools. The other tools here, they for sure require an Aurora license. And I must also say these analysis flows, they also require different tools. They require security installation on your machine. So this is necessary for that. But this is exactly the same as in PCB editor. So if you want to run analysis modes from the analysis workflows from Allegro PCB editor, then you also need security installation on your machine. Otherwise, this will not work. Yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show you. Let me maybe go back to the slide deck, show you some additional things here, show you maybe these things. So if you are interested in trainings, go to our webpage. In the training section there we have at the moment two System Capture trainings, so System Capture Basics and System Capture Front to Back. 3 is not really true, so it's 2.5 days by the way. So you can also use this link here. So as mentioned, we will give you a handout, and there you also have the links. And what we also do is some workshops. So as I mentioned, my colleague Dirk is also giving Aurora workshops, simulation workshops, AWR workshops, also webinars. And if you are interested in this, you can also directly access these workshops here with the link. Good. So that's it from my side.
All right, Holger, thank you very much. Great overview of System Capture. Yes, please feel free to send us your questions. If later on you have one, or feel free to come back to us and ask whatever you like. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us in this webinar. Thank you, Holger.
Thank you.
Have a great day. See you soon.
Bye. See you.